We'll start again with Keisha Verbaten of Wrightstown High School, whose dream is to own her own cattle farm.
Solitude by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Laugh, and the world laughs with you. Weep, and you weep alone. For the sad old earth must borrow its mirth, but has trouble enough of its own. Sing, and the hills will answer. Sigh, it is lost on the air. The echoes bound to a joyful sound, but shrink from voicing care. Rejoice, and men will seek you. Grieve, and they turn and go. They want full measure of all your pleasure, but they do not need your woe. Be glad, and your friends are many. Be sad, and you lose them all. There are none to decline your nectared wine, but alone you must drink life's gall. Feast, and your halls are crowded. Fast, and the world goes by. Succeed and give, and it helps you live, but no man can help you die. There is room in the halls of pleasure for a large and lordly train, but one by one we must all file on through the narrow aisles of pain.
Now Cody Tulip from Durand High School, a senior. He says, in terms of grandest dreams, performing in at least one Broadway musical would be incredible.
At the Vietnam Memorial by George Bilger. The last time I saw Paul Castle was printed in gold on the wall above the showers in the boys' locker room, next to the school record for the mile. I don't recall his time, but the year was 1968. I can look across the infield of memory to see him on the track. Legs flashing, body bending slightly beyond the pack of runners at his back. He couldn't spare a word for me. 2 years younger, junior varsity, and hardly worth the waste of breath. He owned the hallways, a cool blonde at his side, and aimed his interests further down the line than we could guess. Now, reading the name again, I see us, standing in the showers, naked kids beneath his larger, comprehensive force. The ones who trail obscurely in the wake of the swift, like my shadow on this gleaming wall.
And now Abigail Thompson from Milwaukee High School of the Arts, who hopes someday to own a children's theater company or star on Broadway.
Passing by Toy Darracott. A professor invites me to his black lit class. They're reading Larson's Passing. One of the black students says, "Sometimes light-skinned blacks think they can fool other blacks, but I can always tell." Looking right through me. After I tell them I am black, I ask the class, "Was I passing when I was just sitting here before I told you?" A white woman shakes her head desperately, as if I had deliberately deceived her. She keeps examining my face. then turning away, as if she hopes I'll disappear. Why presume passing is based on what I leave out and not what she fills in? In one scene in the book, in a restaurant, she's passing, though no one checked her at the door. "Hey, you black?" My father, who looked white, told me this story. Every year when he'd go to get his driver's license, the man at the window filling out the form would ask, "White or black?" Pencil poised without looking up. My father wouldn't pass, but he might use silence to trap a devil. When he didn't speak, the man would look up at my father's face. "What did he write?" my father quizzed me.
Taylor Thomas is next, from Green Bay West High School, a junior. I like this grand dream to travel the world.
The Paradox by Paul Laurence Dunbar. I am the mother of sorrows. I am the ender of grief. I am the bud and the blossom. I am the late falling leaf. I am thy priest and thy poet. I am thy serf and thy king. I cure the tears of the heartsick. When I come near, they shall sing. White are my hands as the snowdrop. Swart are my fingers as clay. Dark is my frown as the midnight. Fair is my brow as the day. Battle and war are my minions, doing my will as divine. I am the calmer of passions. Peace is a nursling of mine. Speak to me gently or curse me. Seek me or fly from my sight. I am thy fool in the morning. Thou art my slave in the night. Down to the grave will I take thee, out from the noise of the strife. Then shalt thou see me and know me, death then no longer but life. Then shalt thou sing at my coming, kiss me with passionate breath. Clasp me and smile to have thought me, aught save the foeman of death. Come to me, brother, when weary. Come when thy lonely heart swells. I'll guide thy footsteps and lead thee down where the dream woman dwells.
Jillian Staven is a junior at DeForest Area High. Dreams of visiting every continent.
Fortuna by Thomas Carlyle. The wind blows east, the wind blows west, and the frost falls, and the rain. A weary heart went thankful to rest, and must rise to toil again, gain and must rise to toil again. The wind blows east, the wind blows west, and there comes good luck and bad. The thriftiest man is the cheerfulest. 'Tis a thriftless thing to be sad. Sad 'tis a thriftless thing to be sad. The wind blows east, the wind blows west. Ye shall know a tree by its fruit. This world, they say, is worst to the best, but a dastard has evil to boot. Boot, but a dastard has evil to boot. The wind blows east, the wind blows west. What skills it to mourn or to talk? A journey I have, and far ere I rest.
I must bundle my wallets and walk. Walk I must bundle my wallets and walk. The wind does blow as it lists alway. Canst thou change this world to thy mind? The world will wander its own wise way. I also will wander mine. Mine, I also will wander mine. Thank you.
Now Kirsten Meyer from Brookfield Central High School, where she's a senior. There's a pattern developing here. She wants to travel around Japan and Europe.
Degrees of Grey in Phillipsburg by Richard Hugo. You might come here Sunday on a whim. Say your life broke down. The last good kiss you had was years ago. You walk these streets laid out by the insane, past hotels that didn't last, bars that did. The tortured try of local drivers to accelerate their lives. Only churches are kept up. The jail turned 70 this year. The only prisoner is always in, not knowing what he's done. The principle supporting business now is rage, hatred of the various grays the mountain sends, hatred of the mill, the silver bill repeal, the best liked girls who leave each year for Butte. One good restaurant and bars can't wipe the boredom out. The 1907 boom, 8 going silver mines, a dance floor built on springs. All memory resolves itself in gaze. In panoramic green, you know the cattle eat, or 2 stacks high above the town, 2 dead kilns. The huge mill in collapse for 50 years that won't fall finally down. Isn't this your life? That ancient kiss still burning out your eyes? Isn't this defeat so accurate? The church bell simply seems a pure announcement. Ring and no one comes? Don't empty houses ring? Are magnesium and scorn sufficient to support a town, not just Phillipsburg, but towns of towering blondes, good jazz and booze the world will never let you have until the town you came from dies inside? Say no to yourself. The old man, 20 when the jail was built, still laughs although his lips collapse. You tell him no. Someday soon, he says, I'll go to sleep and not wake up. You tell him no. You're talking to yourself. The car that brought you here still runs. The money you buy lunch with, no matter where it's mined, is silver. And the girl who serves your food is slender. And her red hair lights the wall.
From Altoona High School now, a junior, Janessa Gould, who wants to attend college and major in marketing, communication, or advertising, and then travel as much as possible.
Courtesy by David Ferry. It is an afternoon toward the end of August. Autumnal weather. Cool, following on and riding in after the heat of summer into the empty afternoon, shade and light. The shade full of light without any thickness at all. You can see right through and right down into the depth of the light and shade of the afternoon. There isn't any weight of the summer pressing down. In the backyard of the house next door, there's a kid, maybe 11 or 12, and a young man. Visitors at the house whom I don't know. The house in which the sound of some kind of party, perhaps even a wedding, is going on. Somehow, you can tell from the tone of their voices that they don't know each other very well. Two guests at the party. One of them may be a friend of the bride or groom. The other, the son or the younger brother, may be of somebody there. A couple of blocks away, the wash of traffic dimly sounds as if we were near the ocean. They're shooting baskets, amiably and mildly. The noise of the basketball, though startlingly not louder than the voices of the two of them as they play, is peaceable as can be. Something like meter. The earnest voice of the kid, girlish and manly, and the voice of the young man, carefully playing the game of having a grown-up conversation with him. I can tell the young man is teaching the boy by example. The easy way he dribbles the ball and passes it back with a single gesture of wrist to make it easy for the kid to be in sync. Giving and taking, perfectly understood.
And now again to Superior High School, Sunmi Famule, who hopes to go to Columbia, maybe to Oxford, become a published poet.
In by Andrew Hudgens. When we first heard from blocks away the fog truck's blustery roar, we dropped our toys, leapt from our meals, and scrambled out the door into an evening briefly fuzzy. We yearned to be transformed, translated past confining flesh to disembodied spirit. We swarmed in thick smoke, taking human form before we blurred again, turned vague, and then invisible in temporary heaven. Freed of bodies by the fog, we laughed, we sang, we shouted. We were our voices, nothing else. Voice was all we wanted. The white clouds tumbled down our streets, pursued by spellbound children who chased the most distorting clouds, ecstatic in the poison.
From Lodi High School, freshman Amanda Crowder, who hopes to attend college and become either a pediatrician or a forensic scientist.
Bleeding Heart by Carmen Jimenez Smith. My heart is bleeding. It bleeds upwards and fills my mouth up with salt. It bleeds because of a city in ruins. The chair still warm from sister's body because we'll all be irreproducible. My heart bleeds because of baby bear not finding mama bear. And it bleeds to the tips of my fingers like I painted my nails crimson. Sometimes my heart bleeds so much, I'm a raisin.
It bleeds until I'm a quivering, ragged clot. It bleeds at the ending with the heroine and her sunken cancer eyes. At the ending with the plaintive flute over smoke-choked killing fields. I am bleeding a river of blood right now, and it's wearing a culvert in me for the blood. My heart rises up in me, becomes the cork of me, and I choke on it. I am bleeding for you, and for me, and for the tiny babies and the IED blown leg. It bleeds because I am made that way, all filled up with blood. My sloppy heart, a sponge filled with blood to squeeze unto any circumstance. Because it is mine, it will always bleed. My heart bled today. It bled onto the streets and steps of City Hall. It bled in the pizza parlor with the useless jukebox. I've got so much blood to give inside and outside of any milieu. Even for a bad zoning decision, I'll be bleeding so much you'll be bleeding. All of us bleeding in and out like it's breathing or kissing. Because it is righteous and terrible and red.
And now Sarah Brown, a senior at Brookfield Central High School, who plans to attend college in chemical engineering.
Becoming a Redwood by Dana Joya. Stand in a field long enough, and the sounds start up again. The crickets, the invisible toad who claims that change is possible, and all the other life, too small to name. First one, then another, until innumerable they merge into the single voice of a summer hill. Yes, it's hard to stand still. Hour after hour, fixed as a fence post, hearing the steers snort in the dark pasture, smelling the manure, and paralyzed by the mystery of how a stone can bear to be a stone. The pain the grass endures breaking through the earth's crust. Unimaginable, the redwoods on the far hill. Rooted for centuries, the living wood grown tall and thickened with 100,000 days of light. The old windmill creaks in perfect time to the wind shaking the miles of pasture grass. And the last farmhouse light goes off. Something moves nearby. Coyotes hunt these hills, and packs of feral dogs. But standing here at night accepts all that. You are your own pale shadow in the quarter moon, moving more slowly than the crippled stars. Part of the moonlight as the moonlight falls. Part of the grass that answers the wind. Part of the midnight's watchfulness that knows there is no silence but when danger comes.